Alright, today what we're going to be doing for our warm-up is you're going to be completing a graph. You're going to create your own graph, much like you did yesterday. But today you're going to display direct variation. Once you do that, you're going to make sure that you also create a table that has 2 points that are on your graph that you create. And you're going to write the equation that represents that graph. So, let's go ahead and let's start out by titling this, right? So if we're going to title this, I want you to go ahead and write proportional, because all direct variation relationships are proportional. Draw a line right there, it's proportional. We'll write the word direct variation, and that would be y equals mx. So now that we have that, we need to go ahead and create our graph. So first we'll make our y-axis. Next we'll make our x-axis, and we can label that as we make it. I'll put y-axis, and then I'll put right here, I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit, x axis, and we're going to color code it too. This is just going to give you some extra practice on graphing and understanding what's occurring with a direct variation type problem, because we're going to be working on these all week long, and we're going to be learning more about how to graph them, and how to use the tables to determine if it's direct variation, and also how to create equations from a graph that's direct variation. So with that being done, let's go ahead and label our axis with some points. So I'll call that 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're welcome to do this however you want, or you can do it exactly like me. It is completely up to you. Just remember, when you're going past the y-axis, when you pass that 0 point on y and go down below the x-axis, your numbers are going to go negative. So I'm going to put in a few marks. That would be -1, -2, -3, -4. Then over here we have +1 on our x-axis, +2, +3, +4, and on our y-axis we have -1, -2, -3, -4. Alright, so on my x-axis I have my negative numbers to the left, my positive numbers to the right, and on my y-axis I have my positive numbers up and my negative numbers going down. So this is how we should have it. Now you can put as many marks as you want depending on how you're going to make your graph. Knowing that this is direct variation, it is proportional, so it will always go through the origin. So I'm going to put my first point at origin, and I'm going to put my next point at, let's see, we'll put it at, I'm going to use a fraction on mine. Put it at 2, 3. So there we go, right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and just use my colored pencil here to go ahead and show my run. So if I'm looking at my run, that's going to be what's going on occurring on the x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and put some marks coming over from 3. There's my run, and then my rise is coming up to 3. With that being done, I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. Now we have our rise and we have our run. So if you look at it, my rise, right, my y goes on top, my run goes on bottom. That's equal to our rise over run, which means our up and down over our side to side movement. If I wanted to write the slope, right, I'm going up 1, 2, 3, So my rise is 3, and my run is going over 2. 1, 2. So that is my slope. That's going to come into play in just a minute. That's very important because we're going to actually write the equation. But before we write the equation, I want us to go ahead and draw a table right here. Now we just need to put 2 points in it. So it's going to be quick and easy. So draw you a box to put your points in. Now typically in most of the problems that you're going to do, they like to put the x first in the table and the y second. I don't know why. You just naturally, when I look at slope, I always want to put the y on top. But this is typically how the tables are, so I'm going to go ahead and follow that same trend. So let's go ahead and look at our points. First we got to look at this point. This point, I'm going to label it, is actually 0, 0, because it's at origin. This point, my x value is 2 right here. So I'm going to put my order pair. 2 goes first. And then my y value is 3, so my y goes second. Now if you're going, well, how did you put those points in order? I know most of you know this, but just in case you're wondering, when we write an ordered pair, we always put our x value first and our y value second, just like that. So let's go ahead and fill these in. So it's going through origin, so my x value is 0. And my y value is 0. My second point, my x value is a 2. And my y value, right here on my y-axis coming across, is 3. So let me go ahead and color those in a little bit. That's an x value. That's an x value because I'm hitting 2. And here we're at 0. And then this is a y value. Because we cross at 3. So, now that we have our table, we have our slope, we've written our graph, I want you to go ahead and write the equation of this graph line. Now, either you can write it, if you did yours exactly like mine, your equation is going to be exactly like mine. If you made your own and you went through different points, then you'll need to determine your slope and write the equation for your line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to rewrite this equation right here. The only difference is, instead of putting this m right here, I'm actually going to put a number in place of it, because I know what m is, right? So my m is my slope. So my 3 over 2 is equal to m. And the neat thing about slope is, when you have an improper fraction, you just leave it like it is. You don't have to make any adjustments, so it's 3 over 2. And then you're just going to bring down your x. And that's it. That's how you write the equation of your line. Now we're going to have some notes on this, and we're going to go over it in further detail. So if it still looks a little bit confusing, don't worry. But go ahead, make sure you have your equation written, you have your table written, and you have a graph made. And you'll turn this in for a grade.